Alright, so you guys seem to really be enjoying the versus videos that we've been making, and so I decided to go ahead and make part 3. And for part 3, we're going to do a very special one that I've actually been thinking about for a long time. And it is Elias Walker versus John Price, the rebooted version. And I think this is a pretty cool one because you're pitting two top of the top guys from different parts of the world in completely different situations that have had to deal with a lot of different world altering problems, basically, at least for them. So I think this one's really cool. So we're going to start off with their military career, as you guys should already know by now. And Elias Walker is a former U.S. military army captain who became one of the founding members of the Stalker Task Force, widely known as Ghost, which is an elite, highly secretive unit operating in a collapsed America during the war against the Federation. Elias would ultimately become the commander of the Ghost unit after their former commander was presumed killed. Jonathan Price, on the other hand, would begin his career in the British military at age 16 and worked his way up to the rank of captain and is now considered a veteran Special Air Service operator and leader of Task Force 141, which specializes in counter-terrorism operations worldwide. And now we take a look at their combat skills. Now, Elias Walker, as a U.S. Army captain, would primarily specialize in company command, leading 60 to 200 soldiers or serving as staff officers at the battalion level. They are key managers for tactical operations, training, and unit readiness. Their role requires specializing in technical, logistical, or professional fields like special forces, military intelligence, logistics, medicine, or legal assistance. So, in theory, this is the type of experience that would be held by Commander Walker. And this doesn't even take into account for all of the years of combat that he's had fighting a losing battle with limited resources due to the conditions of the United States in 2027. Commander Walker also seems to possess survival-based combat and stealth infiltration due to his experience with the Ghost and their many operations. Now, Jonathan Price is a captain in the British Air Service, and as a captain, he is highly trained, typically acting as a troop commander or a squadron second in command. They are responsible for planning, leading operations, and coordinating logistics, while also being proficient in the specialized combat skills required for all blade operators. So, once again, in theory, these are the skills possessed by Captain Price in Modern Warfare. Price has also shown to be exceptionally skilled in close-quarter combat, hand-to-hand combat, and he has shown to be very decisive under pressure. And what I find interesting is that both of these characters, Elias Walker and Jonathan Price, as they stood in that very moment of their life, they are very, very similar in what they've had to do and what they need to be skilled on to be able to do their role good. And here's where we get to the kind of psychological morality type of feel for these characters. Elias and his moral code are a key to his character, and I think that because he seems to put his family and team above all else, he is shown to be extremely loyal, protective, and willing to make the hard choices if it ensures the safety of his men. And this was especially showcased when he was forced to make the choice of letting go of his commander, Gabriel T. Rourke, to save the rest of his unit. However, I think that Elias is also extremely ruthless and has had to bend the rules a lot due to the circumstances that he is in and the aggressive fight against the Federation. His world is definitely more unforgiving, so he has to be more willing to bend the rules to get results. Now, Price, on the other hand, seems to have a similar moral code. It's very strong, and he seems to care for his team, and is also very loyal to those he feels deserve it, like how he's helped Farah Kareem multiple times, and has even put his reputation on the line for her and the ULF. We also know that Captain Price isn't afraid to get his hands dirty for the betterment of the world. At least that's what he likes to tell himself. In Modern Warfare 2019, Price kidnapped the Butcher's wife and son to get information out of the terrorist, and afterwards, he even allowed gas to kill him in front of his family if he so chose. And in Modern Warfare 3, after the death of Soap, one of his closest allies, Price broke into the Pentagon and killed Shepard, who he partly blamed for the death of Soap. So in reality, Captain Price will push almost any boundary to get the objective done. And now we come to our physical comparison. Here we take a look at the height and the weight and other stuff that could potentially factor in a 1v1 scenario. In our previous episode with Alejandro and Graves, I couldn't find accurate heights and weights for the characters, so I used the actors that portrayed them. However, for this one, it is a little bit different, as Elias Walker is stated to be 6'2" and weighed about 200 pounds at the age of 51 in 2027 when Call of Duty Ghosts takes place. And Captain Price, as of 2026, should be 6'2" and weigh about 205 pounds at the age of 41. And this is going to be his age come Modern Warfare 4 in 2026 this year. So that's kind of interesting, because now you're looking at Captain Price and he's gotten much older since we were first introduced to him. I think he was about 34, 35 when we first got introduced to Captain Price in Modern Warfare 19, and now he's 41. So my boy is growing. I think with all that being said, right now we have their height, their weight, their age. I think it's a tough one. I really do think this is a tough one, because I think it could go either way. But if we're looking at the characters as they stood in that year, right? 2027 for Walker, he was 51. Price was 41 and he was 6'2". That shows a difference there, right? I mean, does age mean everything? No, but I think when you have two very, very skilled operators, and they're very, very close in age, and they're very close in weight, they're close in skill, they're close in height, and the only big difference is the shape maybe of one of them at the time, or maybe the age difference. And I think an age difference of 10 years does make a difference if both of you guys are very similarly skilled, and you know, that might have to influence the choice. And I want you guys to remember this one particular thing. No matter what I say here, there are going to be disagreements down in the comments below, but remember, this is a series that's more fun than anything else, and honestly, it's just us talking, chatting, and exploring these characters a little bit and seeing who would win in a hypothetical 1v1. The real debate is with you guys and what you think, so I would love to hear your opinions down below. Who do you think wins in a 1v1 fight? Commander Elias Walker or Captain Price from the rebooted Modern Warfare series? Now, I went into this comparison with a victor already in mind, and believe me, I don't have a victor ready before I do these. I kind of do them, and then as I'm doing my research and getting everything together, I'm like, okay, I think this would happen. I initially went into this one thinking that I was going to give it to Elias Walker no matter what. I did. I thought my boy Elias, he's been in the trenches for a long time. He's been in these situations that have been very difficult. He's been fighting the Federation, which have been ruthless. They have been in this like post-apocalyptic, almost United States, where they have been fighting for fucking survival. Like, he doesn't know what peace is, and he hasn't known it for a decade. And then Price, on the other hand, yes, he's dealing with a lot of shit. Yes, he's under stress. He's in high risk situations. He could lose his life at any moment. He's had loss of friends, and he's dealing with fucking Makarov and other villains that are batshit crazy. So I get that, but he also, at the end of the day, if he wants, he could go home and take a breather, take a moment, know that other people are out there working, fighting, and then he can come back if he needs to. But I feel that the constant battling and under pressure that Walker has been in for 10 years has to have some sort of edge to him, right? He has to have some advantage. And you have to ask yourself, would Captain Price, the one that we know right now, be able to handle everything that Elias Walker has been able to handle since, 2017? So you compare them in that way. And I think it's difficult. I think it is difficult, but I think at the end of the day, when everything is said and done, you have to factor that this is just a 1v1, maybe hand-to-hand combat type of situation, and it's who can come out on top today. Anyone could win at any other day, but who wins today, right? Right now, who wins? Gun to my head, I had to make a fucking choice. I'm going to have to go Captain Price. And I think that I would have to go for him because of what I mentioned earlier. They are very, very similar in skill, in what they know, in what they learned. They're very good at close quarter combats. They're efficient. They're leaders, but they're both 6'2". They're both about 200 pounds. They're both so matched even physically that it would be really hard. Now, I think if you were to put a 41-year-old Elias Walker next to a 41-year-old Captain Price and you went at their prime or in that particular moment, I think Walker does end up winning. But I think because I'm comparing 2027 Commander Walker at the age of 51 to Captain Price, age 41 in 2026, I think Price, him being just a bit younger, a little bit maybe more mobile, a little bit more stronger in that sense, I think he would win that 1v1 under with those specific circumstances. That's what I'm thinking. It's crazy. I know. I love Ghost. Ghost is one of my favorite fucking games. Story is phenomenal. I think the Ghost would wipe the floor with Task Force 141. Like as a unit, I think they would fuck them up like tremendously. I even have a video where we talk about all the Task Force and who would come out on top, and I chose Ghost. I think the Stalker Task Force would win. So as a unit, I think they're kicking ass, but I think in a 1v1 scenario, just slightly, barely, Captain Price would take it. But what do you guys think?